Salam kids, how are you doing? Welcome to your channel Islam Station. The topic that we will be discussing today will be the Battle of Khandaq. The Battle of the Khandaq is a very important story from the life of our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. It shows how the Muslims used their faith and smarts to protect themselves when they were in great danger. It was a time when a big group of enemies wanted to attack the city of Medina, where the Muslims lived. The enemies were made up of the Quraysh tribe and some other groups who didn't like the Muslims. The Muslims had a smart idea to protect themselves. They dug a big trench around the city so that the enemies couldn't get through. The enemies were surprised because they had never seen something like that before. One day, a small group of enemy horsemen managed to cross the trench. But brave Ali and some Muslims quickly fought them off, scaring the rest away. In the south of Medina, a Jewish tribe called Banu Qurayza had an agreement with the Muslims to help protect the city. But a bad leader from another Jewish tribe convinced Banu Qurayza to break their promise and join the enemies. This made things even harder for the Muslims, because now they were surrounded by enemies from both the north and the south. When Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, heard about Banu Qurayza's betrayal, he sent 2 Muslims to check. They found out the news was true, and the Muslims became very worried because their families were close to Banu Qurayza. Some Muslims even thought about leaving the battlefield to protect their families. During this difficult time, Prophet Muhammad was very stressed. He lay down and covered his face. But then Allah sent him good news. He gave the Prophet guidance on how to win the battle. This made the Prophet happy, and he shared the good news with the Muslims. This situation created a lot of fear among the Muslims, with enemies surrounding them from both the north and the south. They didn't know how they could defend themselves. Some Muslims even considered leaving the battlefield to go back and protect their families. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, sent 2 of his trusted companions to confirm whether the Banu Qurayza had really betrayed them. When the companions arrived, the Banu Qurayza openly mocked the Muslims and spoke badly about Prophet Muhammad, proving their betrayal. The good news from Allah brought Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, hope and energy, and took action immediately. He sent 500 soldiers to protect the Muslim women and children who were near the area of Banu Qurayza. This made sure the families were safe, while the rest of the Muslim army continued defending the trench. Even though the enemies were powerful, they couldn't defeat the Muslims. Allah sent a strong windstorm that blew away the enemies' tents and supplies, making it impossible for them to stay any longer. They finally gave up and left, and the Muslims won without a huge battle. But fighting wasn't the only kind of test the Muslims faced. They had been awake for over 3 weeks, exhausted, hungry, and cold. Yet they were never to know a moment's respite, nor even to say their prayers properly, lest the enemy should attack them at any instant. Yet they trusted Allah and kept united. Allah sent a strong windstorm that blew away the enemy's tents and supplies, making it impossible for them to stay any longer. The story related to the Battle of the Trench and the betrayal is a reminder to stand firm in belief and to know that when things are not going well, Allah will intervene. So, kids, that's all for today's video. Stay tuned for more. Allah Hafiz.